This month, we're following the February tradition of exploring the topic of love. Not romantic love, as Valentine's Day suggests, but rather the love of God. The love of the divine for its creation, or as Ernest Holmes defines love in the glossary of the Science of Mind on page 608, the self-givingness of the Spirit through the desire of life to express itself in terms of creation. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Or, another way to think of it, the love of the divine for its creation. As quoted in Charles Fillmore last week from Talks of Truth on page 64. Catch this is us. The love of God for His children is beyond description. A love so tender and so deep that it cannot be mentioned in the same breath with the ordinary love as known by the world. The great love of being is deeper and wider than the thoughts and the words of humanity have encompassed since the beginning of language. Wow. Isn't that something? That's the kind of love we're talking about this month. Specifically, our theme is On the Wings of Love. Each week, we're looking at different aspects of the love of the divine that help us spread our wings and fly into greater and even greater expressions of life itself. Here's been the lay of the land. L, standing for living in light and laughter, which we joyfully did the first week of the month. Remember that? And then O, we got an entirely new perspective on the omnipresence, omnipotence, and omniscience of God's love. Today is the V, not standing for Valentine's, that would have been last week, but for vibrating with vision and vitality. Next week, we're going to have E for enlightened enthusiasm. When we look at David Hawkins' work in his book, Power versus Force, we learn that love is one of the highest energetic vibrations there is. And we also know that when we are at a high level of vibration, we are very magnetic. Our premise for this month is that if we bring love, divine love, a high vibrational energy to our visions, our hopes, and our dreams, they will have a great deal of vitality. Vitality means, according to our friend Daniel Webster, the power or ability of something to be successful, the capacity to live and develop, the power to endure. I want to offer you a passage from Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind that we're going to unpack today to see where we are with bringing the high vibrational energy of divine love to our visions, our hopes, and our dreams, giving them a great deal of vitality, or, said another way, giving them the power or ability to be successful, the capacity to live and develop, and the power of endurance. This passage is a real roadmap for doing just that. It appears in The Science of Mind on page 288 and reads, write this down in your mind. We should analyze ourselves saying, do I look at myself from a standpoint of restriction? Do I see life limited to the eternal round of getting up in the morning, eating, going to work, coming home? The way to proceed is to begin right where we are. It is not scientific to attempt to begin somewhere else. No one ever started at the top. Let us be happy to begin right where we are and grow. Let us assess right where we are and even be happy to begin there. Joy is also a very high vibratory emotion. So even if you feel a bit like Holmes asked, even if you see life from a standpoint of restriction or see life as drudgery, I just want you to notice it. Just notice where you are and be happy to be able to notice it. Be happy to be able to notice it. Be happy that this moment is a turning point for you. Be happy to begin from right here, right now, to grow. Now, in that receptive vibration, I'm going to read you some words from Sufi poet Rumi, one of my favorite teachers. You were born with potential. You were born with goodness and trust. You were born with ideals and dreams. You were born with greatness. You were born with wings. You are not meant for crawling, so don't. You have wings. Learn to use them and fly. You, my friends, were not born to live in restriction. You are not born to be an eternal round of getting up in the morning, eating, going to work, coming home, going to get, sleeping, getting up again, and so on and so on. There is so much more to life, and there is so much more meant for your life. You are meant to fly, not to crawl. So Ernest tells us to break the bonds of apparent necessity and see life as one continuous expression of the infinite self. And you may also be thinking, that's great. How do I do it? Well, the first thing to remember is that the how is actually none of your business. Whose business is it? Ah, yes, it is God's business. Get out of the way and let God do it. If you have the intention, if you set it right here and now to break the bonds of necessity and see life as one continuous expression of the infinite self, you can do that. Because that's the what. And the what is completely and totally your business. Remember our exercise last week when we said, so this is what God looks like? This is a powerful way to see everything as one continuous expression of God. So this is what God looks like. Wow. Ernest Holmes makes a promise to us when we do this. He says, and as this conception gradually dawns upon the inner thought, in other words, as we begin to embody this idea, as it becomes more and more real to us, something will happen in the outer conditions to relieve the greater demands of necessity. Free yourself forever from the thought that God may be pleased by a life of sacrifice, that the world is any better because of your misery, or that righteousness is more perfectly expressed through poverty than abundance. Know that the greater abundance of every good thing which you are bringing out in your life, the more perfectly you are satisfying the divine urge within you. Anything you can dream of is not too great for you to undertake if it hurts no one and brings happiness and good into your life. Gives you something to think about, doesn't it? Now, those words fairly sizzle with vitality, don't they? Who knows who I was almost quoting there? Charles Fillmore. She got it right there on the nose. Charles Fillmore was in his 90s when he wrote, I fairly sizzle with joy and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Is there someone or some circumstance involved in your dream that is challenging? Something that seems to be a roadblock, a stumbling block? What if you brought love to him or her or it? Is there a lack of clarity about how to get there? First, remember the how is none of your business. That's God's business. but just bring love to the part of you that wants to know how. The part that is paralyzed because you can't see how. When you do this, you will open up an idea. Oh, I could do that. I could take that step. That, my friends, is the love of the divine, desiring to express itself in terms of creation through you. Let that vision vibrate with vitality and watch it take you to the next step and the next and the next. W. Clement Stone said, "No matter how carefully you plan your goals, they will never be more than pipe dreams unless you pursue them with gusto." So, I want us to end our time by spending a few moments together vibrating a vision with vitality. French mystic Pierre Teilhard de Chardin said, catch this, you may want to close your eyes from this. There is almost a sensual longing for communion with others who have a large vision. The immense fulfillment of the friendship between those engaged in furthering the evolution of consciousness has a quality impossible to describe. Can you think of your vision? Can you think of a portion of your vision? A portion of your vision for this church? And do a prayer for acceptance of the vision. Can you see your vision right now? The one you're working on in your mind, perhaps unconsciously? Feel that vision taking place in your life now and think of, thank you. Oh, how magnificent it is. You can be anything. You can do anything. You are a child of God and growing in love and light and faith all the time, every day, in every way. Keep that flowing and watch yourself grow. And so it is. Thank you.